I really wouldn't want to like introduce you because you've put together a better introduction than the one I'd put together for you.
It's like so you're pulling it up, it goes all the way until 50, and then when you want to reduce, and then you reduce. What sequentials have done is you just go from one gear to another almost instantaneously. Like there's barely any perception of your clutch engaging and a clutch disengaging. So that's also another thing that's made cars extremely responsive and very fast. If it is a moron and doesn't call out the note in the right way, you will crash. Big bald people have a problem there, but you get over it. It won't kill your children. Let's just say it won't kill your children. But you have all 6 of them there. Kanyaga Subaru yako and then nothing happens. So it's like nothing, everything is happening. So that's what usually happens.
What about Kenyan drivers? Who do you know? Who are we supposed to be watching this year? What should we look for?
Rally Academy. So it was this free academy you could go and learn everything about rallying. So that's how me and Edu actually started around the same time. For those years, ended up becoming a team manager, led our team. We even won our class actually in the mini classics of rally. So that was kind of huge. So that's how it goes.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, depending on where you're watching us from Earth. We are always grateful for you tuning in. And today we have a guest who's going to literally blow your mind when it comes to everything about the WRC. And we are so ready for what is coming this weekend in Kenya. We are so excited, and we just want to shed a bit more light into what WRC is, how it has been over the years, and what it's about to be this year. So, welcome on board. Kindly introduce yourself and tell the world what you do.
I thought you were going to be doing the introduction, so I had to just jump right into it. I mean, any opportunity to mention your name is always good. So, yes, hi guys. So, my name is Antony Madilschy. I'm a content creator from CARS360. I'm a rally enthusiast, a car enthusiast, a loudmouth, and just a jolly good guy. So, I mean, yes.
I really wouldn't want to like introduce you because you've put together a better introduction than the one I'd put together for you.
It's part of the job, We have to do this from time to time, but
So, welcome so much.
Thanks, man.
Good to have you on board.
Nice.
And as a rally enthusiast, you've been watching the rally for many years, in out. What kind of changes have occurred over the years when it comes to these rally cars, where it's done, how it's done, everything? Just tell us everything you know.
Bloody hell. Now that's the thing. Where do we start? Obviously, we have to first of all ask ourselves, what is WRC? So that's the World Rally Championship. So we have to also go on ahead and ask, what is rallying? So rallying is basically off-road racing. It's off-road racing from point to point. So it's a timed trial race. So unlike, let's say, something like Formula 1, where you put 20 or so drivers with 20 or so cars in the same track, and then whoever crosses the finish line first is the winner, in rallying, it's all about the timing. So we have stages during the rally, and then you're timed per every stage. So the one who completes that stage in the shortest amount of time, and it's tallied up at the end of the event. So if you've done the whole event, around 300 and something kilometers of competitive stages, if you do it in the shortest amount of time, you're the winner. So that's rallying. So that's a basic principle of rallying. Another thing that you have to also learn about rallying is 2 guys in the car. So you have the driver, you have the navigator. The driver obviously is the one who's doing
the driving.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that should come as obvious. And then the navigator is one who does the
co-driving or giving him the directions, the mapping and everything.
Yes. So the navigator usually has a book called a road book or a pace notes book. So you just have like short notes that's rather than telling him to get here from this point. So let's say if there's a corner in Iko hapo mbele in like let's say around 100 meters. So you're not telling the driver, in 100 meters we are going to get a right hand corner that you should turn right at the speed of the vehicle. That no, that's too much. Because by the time you've said all that, he's already at that said corner.
Right.
So you'll hear something like the navigator saying something like 150 sharp right into 30 over crest. So what does that mean? So it's like in 100 meters, you'll meet a corner that's a sharp right. So sharp right, the driver knows, I need to slow down. I don't need to go like flat out. I don't need to be everywhere. And then in 30 meters, there'll be a crest that you'll have to jump over. So that's what the navigator is constantly saying at the driver's headset. Meaning that the driver isn't driving by sight. He's driving by hearing what the navigator is telling him.
So quick question. We'd love to actually know how important is a co-driver or the navigator. how important is he in winning these WRC championships?
He's literally the most important bit of the car. Because if your navigator is, I don't want to be harsh, but let's be harsh. If your navigator is a moron and doesn't call out the note in the right way, you will crash. You know, in rally, everything comes in so quickly and you're in a very narrow road. So you need a navigator who calls the note exactly when he needs to call it. So what happens is, before, let's say you reach, if it's a sharp right-hand corner, the navigator has already called notes for that corner before you get there. So by the time you get there, he's already called the notes for the following corner. So the driver is always aware. He's like preemptively preparing himself for the next thing. That's what the navigator does.
And has there been any kind of, you know, confusion and it has maybe resulted in a catastrophic accident?
Yes.
A catastrophic, you know, accident, then a recovery, anything? Has there any kind of confusion ever happened that you can recall and you can tell the audience?
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, I'll even say something that's close to home. So I hope our audience knows who Patrick Njiro is. He's like the most famous, let's say, African or Kenyan driver we've ever had. And his navigator is a man called Abdul Sidi. So Abdul Sidi actually is the one who actually trained us when we were starting out rallying as newbies, as young men before we turned 30. And, you know, after that, he trained us. So Abdul Sidi was the navigator. So what happened in the 90s when Patrick Njiro was driving for Subaru? So what happened was Abdul Sidi was reading the notes, but he failed to call a note where it was like, it's a sharp left-hand corner. Actually, it was a sharp right-hand corner that goes right over a cliff. So he failed to say that they needed to slow down. So Patrick Njiro was like flooring it. So he floored it and then got to that corner. He's like, oh shit, we've come at too much speed. So over the cliff, they tumble down, they roll over, you know, big stuff. Patrick Njiro actually got a little bit hurt. He had to be hospitalized. And it ended up being known that Abdul Sidi called the wrong notes. So it was a huge thing that, you know, even when you're being trained by Abdul Sidi, he'll always point it out. He's like, that's how important the navigator is, because the driver will not go by sight. He'll go with what you've told him. So it's that important that if you tell the driver, yes, that corner, that looks sharp, but in our notes we said go flat out, he will go flat out. So Patrick Njiro just went flat out because Abdul Sidi told him to. Then reached the corner and he's like, nope, too fast, went over the cliff. So navigator, extremely important.
Safety. Now, because we've mentioned about, you know, the car rolling over. We've seen those clips where some cars actually go all out and they come out safely. How important is safety when people are doing rallying, and what has been installed over the years to make sure that these cars are more safe? Because the speeds that these people actually drive at are insane. Because call it like last year, we were following the updates of the Safari Rally with helicopters around Naivasha, and they were literally competing with the helicopters. So with that kind of speed, my thinking would be safety should be a number one concern. How has safety been measured over the years, and how has it been improved?
I think safety is the most important thing in any kind of motorsports, more so rallying. So that's a paramount thing. It's like whenever these vehicles, before they compete, there's something they go through that's called scrutineering. And the biggest thing in scrutineering, the thing that could make your car fail scrutineering, is the safety aspect. So what are the safety aspects of a rally car? So when you look at a rally car is supposed to be based off a mass-produced car. So we'll take the Toyota, for example. It's a GR Yaris. So they take a normal GR Yaris and then they take everything that makes it a road car out of it. And then they start now fitting in things that are rally-oriented. What's one of those? There's a roll cage. So a roll cage is literally like, you know, bars of steel, like really hard steel, that's been designed in a way whereby if you roll the vehicle, nothing, like the whole body doesn't just implode on itself. It'll just roll and keep its structure. So that's the first and the most important thing with safety aspect of a rally car is the roll cage. The second thing is the race seat and the safety harnesses. So you have, in a normal car, you know, you have your seat, you have the lumbar support, you can move your seat forward and back, you know, lean over. You look like somebody who leans over and they drive. I'm just mentioning it. I mean, but
in comfort mode.
Comfort mode, exactly. But in a rally car, it's literally one shell of a seat. You cannot adjust it like going forward, you can't adjust it going backwards. They're literally bolted to the vehicle. So it's one shell. You have like, we call it a bucket seat because it's like literally sitting into a bucket. So it fits over your form of the body, of your body. And then when you sit in that seat, now you have a 6-point harness. So a 6-point harness is a safety belt. So you have one strap that comes here, another strap that comes here, another strap that goes, both sides of your waist, and then you have one that goes around your crouch. Big bald people have a problem there, but you get over it. It don't kill your children. Let's just say it don't kill your children,
Right.
but you have all 6 of them there. So when you tie yourself into that, you are basically stationary. You cannot move. So in an instance, like I remember, what was it? Was it 2021 Monte Carlo rally? I think it was Oitanak with his Hyundai, went straight off a cliff at around like 160, 170 kilometers an hour. Like you watch the video of that thing, it's like a missile just firing into the trees. But you look in the inside, it's just like, it's all, we're just tumbling over the cliff, you're just going around. And then you just see the driver and the navigator just like this. None of them is moving. So the roll cage isn't imploding in itself. So it's actually protecting them. Then the harness holds them to the seat that's bolted to the car so they can't move. Those are the biggest safety things with a rally car. Then you get other things like, the automatic extinguisher inside the vehicle. So in case there's a fire, it can blow itself off, or you can actually push a button from both inside and outside. There's the cutoff that cuts all the power for the vehicle so it doesn't burn itself. So there's such stuff that they've implemented over the years to just make cars safer. Because in the 80s, we had instances where the roll cage wasn't strong enough. So a vehicle goes into a tree, that tree is inside the vehicle now.
Yeah.
A vehicle jumps off a cliff and explodes. They literally used to explode. I think there was 1986 Group B. That was the Lancia Delta S4. What was his name? Henry Toivonen. That's how he died. Like the car just jumped off and the car exploded and burnt all of them. So right now, rally cars safe as they've ever been. Doesn't mean there are no accidents. Doesn't mean there are no deaths. The last one we had was for Craig Breen. I think that was back beginning of 2024. So that was a bit of a sad thing, but rally cars are safe.
There's a small section that we actually jumped, and what kind of changes, turbocharger structure, what kind of changes have been done to these rally cars to make sure that they are ready for the terrain, they're ready for those speeds, they're ready to win those title championships.
So many changes. I mean, you basically fizzed my little thing there by bringing in tech stuff. I love tech stuff. So the things that are different from a normal car to a rally car, right? So obviously you have the 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. So in essence, it looks like your normal road car engine, but it isn't. Now, the main thing that it isn't is the turbocharger. So a normal turbocharger, what's a turbocharger? It's a thing, it looks like a snail. It has one point where it brings air into the engine and another point where the exhaust is basically exiting the engine. But when the exhaust is exiting through the turbo, it spins the compressor side that's bringing air or forcing air into the engine. Hence why we call them forced induction engines. So now what the turbochargers do is that's how they operate. For a normal road car, you have to wait. We call it turbo lag. Unakanyaga Subaru yako and then nothing happens. So it's like nothing, everything is happening. So that's what usually happens. But for a rally car, we have something called anti-lag. So anti-lag is a system that keeps throwing in petrol at the turbocharger so that it keeps spinning the turbine. So the part in the exhaust is called the turbine, part of the intake is called compressor. So when the petrol is being thrown there, that explosion happens, it keeps that turbine like spinning at full speed, and then it keeps just boosting the engine all the time. So when you see a rally car stationary and then you hear, it's throwing flames and everything and the world is ending, that is the anti-lag. And once it turns off the anti-lag, no more road car. So that's one of the changes. It's made cars responsive. I won't say powerful because they're less powerful than they used to be, but that responsiveness means they can be on the power all the time. All right. Another thing that they've changed, obviously, is the gearbox. So back in the days, you used to have your manual gearbox. You manhandle the car there every single time. Your hand is just there. So big left arms, basically, because the right hands did something. Anyway,
People are taking matters into their own hands.
Yes, taking matters into your own hands, children. So gearboxes changed because now you have what we call sequential gearboxes. So in a normal gearbox you go gear 1, gear 2, gear 3, gear 4, but sequential is you pull back, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but right now it's all the way until 5 speed. So it's and then when you want to do and then you reduce. So what sequentials have done is you just go from one gear to another almost instantaneously. Like there's barely any perception of your clutch engaging and a clutch disengaging. So that's also another thing that's made cars extremely responsive and very fast. The other biggest change, suspension. So I think if you see old rally cars to new rally cars, you'd see like even the height of the vehicle has changed. So you find like a rally car can go on very rough terrain. I think you said something that made me remember a nice clip. So you go to YouTube, find 2021 Takamoto Katsuta doing Safari Rally, and you'd see like his Toyota going 190 kilometers an hour.
Yes.
Off-road without slowing down, and that's not because of it's the driver, but it's not because of the power, it's because of the suspension. So you find like the suspension soaks up so much road harshness and everything that the driver can just go flat out. So that's a big change. So we have like manufacturers like Rigers. You'll always hear something called Rigers. Rigers are like purple. So if you go to a rally car, you see the suspension is purple, it's a Riger, and those things are bloody expensive. Like a good Riger shock is like 1 million. So if you
shillings.
a million Kenya shillings for one shock. Okay. So you go all sides, that's 4 shocks, and then you put spares, you carry on the millions. Right. But suspension has been really good. Then the one most overlooked thing, tires. So the thing about rally tires that are different with normal road car tires is that when a road car tire deflates, you'll always find like it goes flat. So unaonanga tire imekuwa flat. Yeah. But a rally tire is so reinforced that even when it has no air in it, you won't tell. The driver would know it, but somebody seeing that car will not tell it. It has reinforced sides that actually keep it. It's almost like run flat tires. So the tires help in terms of one, absorbing old road shocks, absorbing even rocks and spikes, whatever is on the road, so the driver can push without fearing that the tire will pop. And then also the way they are able to heat up and cool down, it's much more controlled. So you have grip the whole time. So that's one of the biggest. And then another thing, materials. So rather than making the car out of steel or aluminium, no, it's carbon fiber. So it's made the cars extremely light. I think this year, 2025, the cars are 1,180 kilos. And that is amazing for a car that has like around 360 horsepower. It means like you can just accelerate and decelerate so well, and that's some of the biggest changes. So if you're supposed to look at the amount of technology that has pushed rally cars forward, those are the key things. Engine, gearbox, suspension, tires.
You've mentioned names and you've told them to go watch clips. You've mentioned incidences, and names. Yeah. What about Kenyan drivers? Who do you know? Who are we supposed to be watching this year? What should we look forward to?
Well, for Kenyan drivers, and it's a good thing that you said that they barely get any mention because, the international drivers take everything. They're the superstars. But we do have our own drivers. I mean, like, for example, I will mention a personal friend of mine. He's not a driver, he's a navigator. Edward Ndukui. Edu. Do not crash. Do not send that car. Please, for the love of God, don't send the car. Anyway, he's a good navigator. We started rallying with him. But another driver we can look forward to is Jeremy Wahome, Hamza, Anwar. Also, I know Hamza, very good driver. At least there was an issue. They couldn't get like good sponsorship for them to be able to compete in Safari Rally, despite the fact that entry fee was waived off from local drivers. We actually, this is the thing people don't know. We were actually doing, any local driver is doing it for free. No entry fee.
That's interesting.
But entry fee is just half of the journey. You need to have a car, you need to have spares, you need to have a team, you need to have fuel, tires, so all that kind of stuff. So Hamza was really struggling, but he did get a bit of sponsorship. So please look out for Hamza Anwar. He'll be driving a Ford Fiesta, a Rally 2 vehicle. We have Jeremy Wahome. Jeremy Wahome is a nice protege, up-and-coming driver. He was part of the WRC Rally Academy. So there were drivers who were given like free cars, that were Rally 3 cars by the FIA. Obviously that stopped, but he does have a Skoda Fabia Rally 2 vehicle this time. So also another driver to look forward to. And then we have our local guys, you have the normal ones, Carl Tundo, you have... there's another driver, I'm forgetting his name, but we will put a list of their names there. But we have a good local selection of drivers. The only problem is they won't get as much airtime. So you won't be able to see them on the live feed. Right. But we will be able to see their results. So we'll be able to follow them up that way. Yeah.
Right. And interestingly, you've mentioned your friend Edu, the navigator.
Oh my goodness.
And Edu Jitume. But something interesting that you've mentioned is you guys train together.
Yes.
Were you in the rally?
Yeah.
Were you a navigator? Were you racing? What kind of accolades do you take home with you? What kind of lessons do you take personally home?
I think I should have started with that. So I have been in rallying from 2016.
Right.
So initially, actually, I've been training from 2014. So when I started doing rally training, it was under Abdul Sidi. So he had an academy called Abdul Sidi Rally Academy. So it was this free academy you could go and learn everything about rallying. So that's how me and Edu actually started around the same time.
Right.
So did navigation training, did timekeeper training. Also, you taught about boards, you taught about how the rally operates. So that's how I started. But I am an automotive engineer by profession.
Right.
So I gravitated towards crew, being a part of the service crew. So that's how I started doing. I was part of the service crew initially in 2016, 2017. Obviously, you get better at it to the point now whereby you know how the rally works. So I ended up being a team manager from there.
Right.
So my biggest accomplishment was we did compete in 2021. 2021, we were competing in the Autocross Championship. And we were fighting against Rajveer. I think actually Rajveer is one of the drivers. Rajveer, Jitume Pia. Jitume. So Rajveer was our biggest competitor in 2021 when we were competing for the two-wheel drive championship. It was an amazing championship. That's why we all went all gloves out. We rallied with us old 1992 Subaru Leon. So when we noticed that his car was quite a lot faster than ours, we started modifying it like crazy. So we stripped off everything that was metal and made fiberglass panels out of it. We removed the rear windscreen, put a fiberglass panel there, removed the rear doors, fiberglass, removed the headlights, the taillights. Like basically that car ended up becoming a prototype. And then we started we ran some few events. It was a good championship. So we ended up finishing second because Rajveer just did the same thing we did. Yeah, you copied us. But he won. It's
You really can't blame
him. You can't blame him. He won. He did it. So that was our biggest achievement then. But in 2022, we were approached by the guys at Minty Motorsports before they shut down their operations. And they gave us an old Datsun 180B. So we ended up doing classic rally with it. I think we did the mini classic in 2022. That was my best moment in rallying. Because you're a team manager, you have your service crew, you have a car, budget is being there. I mean, you enter LD, you're like a rock star, bro. Like police, you have police escorts, and then you're hearing like your guys going like, man, this is how it feels when you have police escort. I'm like, yeah, man, you have Minty plastered on your car, you're being given the road. So that was a big thing. So I've done rally for those years, ended up becoming a team manager, led our team. We even won our class actually in the mini classics rally. So that was kind of huge. So that's how it comes.
Automotive engineering.
Yeah.
How long? Why cars? And why are you so you're very knowledgeable in these things.
Yeah.
The point, I don't sleep trying to study these things, but again I feel like okay, I'm learning a lot.
Yeah.
Why cars? Why automotive engineering? How long have you been doing it?
Yeah.
You have so much interest in what you're speaking about. You speak with so much passion.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
So for me, cars has been a childhood passion.
Right.
I can't necessarily say when I said loving it. I just know that when I was 4 years old, I was talking cars to my parents. Like I see a car on TV and I'm like, I need to know how that operates and what's happening and all that kind of stuff. So I've loved cars from when I was a child. And obviously the next step when you learn a lot about cars is you want to really get deep into it. So that's why I ended up doing automotive engineering when I left high school. So ended up doing engineering, learning about it. I wanted to learn every single facet of a car. I wanted to learn why these parts are there. I wanted to learn why pistons are running, their bolts are there, everything is there. Been in the automotive industry for 10 years now. Actually started in 2013. Actually, it's more than 10 years. Actually, right now it's going to 12 years.
12 years,
Ooh, wow, yeah, I'm an old guy.
2013 I was in Form 1.
2013 I was in college, bro. Wow. I was training in DT Dobby. So trained in DT Dobby, learned how to service Mercedes, Nissans, moved out of DT Dobby, did my own business for a while. I was importing fuel additives from abroad, bringing them into Kenya, repackaging them, and then selling them to like people who wanted to have their fuel basically burn better in their engines. Then I joined Mobius Motors. I joined first of all as a test driver, which up to this day, that's the best employment job I've ever had.
Really?
Because you wake up in the morning, this is what happens when you're a test driver, right? You wake up in the morning, go to work, right? As you do. But the difference is, people stay in the office, I'm given a key and a fuel card and told to go to anywhere I want. Just write a report at the end of the day.
What do you think about the car?
What do you think about the car? That suspension we put, what did you feel about it? The brakes, do they overcook at a certain speed? Like, just go test drive, just go drive it anywhere you want. And you're given a fuel card so you can fuel it as much as you... Best job ever. If you're a young child thinking, what is the best job I could possibly get in this world? Be a test driver. Because any car, imagine this, it's not even your car.
Right.
It's not your car. You can drive it like an idiot, and no one will blame you. As a matter of fact, you break something,
You're actually
and they're
testing
happy.
it. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I used to. Should I say this? Yeah, they're defunct right now. I can say whatever I want. I mean,
They're going to sue you for their fans. They're going to sue you for their fans.
So yeah, I mean, I used to go out and I'd break something and I'd be like, oh shit, man, I broke this thing. But I'm like, but wait.
The suspension is not good.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, but I'm a test driver. That was the point. So you go and I'm like, oh yeah, but this thing broke down, and they're like, oh okay, all right. It means we need to make it strong. And I'm like, can you drive the car back? I'm like, yeah. I'll try. I'll try. I'll get it home. Don't worry. But to be honest, I messed up. But that was the best job ever. Then I ended up going into the after sales department. I was a technician there, so we'd do after sales on the vehicle, service them, mend them, and then I also joined the R&D department when they were developing the second generation of the Mobius 2. So that was my experience, and up to this day I'm still an automotive consultant. So I have my own consultancy called Auto Connoisseurs. So anyone who has a problem with their vehicle, they call me up, I'm able to guide them through it, push them to a garage that will be able to fix their cars. So it's still something I do, but my day-to-day right now has obviously shifted into content creation.
Yeah. What do you enjoy about content creation?
I mean, I enjoy the ability to be able to tell my own story. I mean, the whole basis started from me watching Top Gear when I was a young boy, and my biggest hero is Jeremy Clarkson. You just see how bombastic he is. His descriptions. I mean, we were talking about it before.
Can you give us an example?
I mean, yeah. So he was once test driving an Audi R8, right? And then he's like, this car is amazing. Yeah, no, V8 actually at that point.
Okay.
So he was driving an Audi R8, and then he was trying to describe the feeling you get with driving such an unhinged car. And this was his exact words. He's like, driving this car is like being in a phone box, locked up, with a bear attacking you, making love, as the queen watches you from the side. It's manic. And I'm like, you listen to the description as a young guy, and you're like, okay, so you're in a telephone box, there's a bear attacking you, but you're making love, and you're like, wait.
The queen.
Yes, and then the queen is watching you. So you ask, why isn't the queen helping you get away from the attacking bear? Okay. She's there looking and then judging your positions and going like, are you really that stamina? No, this is not proper for a Kenyan man. And I'm like, but you hear those descriptions, and it got me into saying that I'd want to do that. I'd want to review cars the way Jeremy Clarkson or Richard Hammond or James May does it.
Right.
So when the opportunity came up, when I was first introduced to making like a car show with a network called CTN. I'm not sure if they're there anymore. It was Covenant Television Network. So they were like, oh yeah, we've heard you love cars. We know you know how to talk. So will you be interested in doing a car show? And I was like, yeah, why not? I mean, I've never done it before. I've never been in a media class, but you could learn on the job. Right. That was back in 2019. So 2025, here I am doing content for CARS360. So it's going well. Pay me more money though. I need more money.
CARS360, you had the man.
Anyway, yeah.
I don't know. So much is changing in the world right now.
Yeah.
In the world of cars, hybrid systems are everywhere. The RX, you're getting a lot of hybrid systems. Yeah. You're getting electric motors and whatnot. The rally. Are there any kind of changes when it comes to the hybrid systems and whatnot?
Now that's a very interesting thing, because there was a change. Yes. All right. So back in 2022 is when we came out from having WRC plus cars. So WRC plus cars didn't have hybrids. They had the same engine, but the engines were producing like 380 horsepower or something. They were
50 more horsepower there.
Yeah, and they were very fast. They were extreme. Like, this was the most extreme rally cars we ever had. But in 2022, they changed the rules, the FIA and the World Rally Commission. So they introduced a hybrid system that actually added 100 more horsepower. So the cars actually became more powerful than ever they had, or 500 horsepower. So for 2022, 2023, and 2024, vehicles had the hybrid system. But weirdly, for 2025, they got rid of them.
Why?
They felt that it's not relevant. Which I will agree with. I mean, to be honest, okay, this is what they thought. They were like, okay, we have a hybrid system in our rally cars. Yes, it would be similar to what this Toyota, Hyundai, or Ford do with their own normal cars. Right. But is it relevant to the World Rally Championship? They were like, if especially last year, what happened was there was a driver called Martin Sachs. And when he went for his home rally, I forget the name for his home rally, but when he went for his home rally, his Ford M Sport actually didn't have a hybrid system in it. Instead, it just had a ballast. So, the hybrid system is like 100 kilograms. So they just put 100 kgs in the car and let him go. And he was as fast with the vehicles that had the hybrid system. So the question came, why have it? And we don't even notice it when we watch. The only thing we'll see is the graphics for this is hybrid, this is whatever, but there's absolutely no difference. And on Sunday, actually, we went for a driver signing for Thierry Neuville. He's the current World Rally champion. Right. And I asked that same question to him. I'm like, cars don't have hybrid this year. And he's like, yeah, you don't feel the difference. You'd feel the lack of push, because this is 100 horsepower just coming in from the electric motor. So when you're off a corner and there's 100 horsepower, you get that push. But he's like, but because the cars are lighter, it's unnoticeable. It's like the cars, and you won't notice it as a spectator. All you hear is the so we don't care. We don't care.
We actually don't.
Yeah, we don't care. Get rid of it. As long as I hear those noises and I see Thierry Neuville, thrashing it on a savannah, who cares? Who bloody cares? Just go for it. You go flat out. Yeah, right.
Decision making.
Yeah.
How important is it to the driver and the navigator? Fast decision making, on point decision, thinking on your feet. Yeah. How important is that?
Oh, very important, because conditions are always changing.
Right.
So what happens when before they do a rally, there's something called recce. So recce is the first time when the driver and the navigator get to see the stages.
Right.
But you're not going with the rally car, you go with like a normal car, you're limited to like 80 kph. But it's your way to like learn the route. So you write your pace notes, learn the route, and do everything. But when you do the rally, you could do the recce when the conditions are dry. For example, it's rained right now in Naivasha. When we're recording this, it's Tuesday. So it's rained in Naivasha. So people may have done recce with stages with having rained in the stages.
Right.
But we are hearing that the forecast for the rally will be sunny all through. So you see, for a driver, you may have done your pace notes when it was raining, but you have to shift when you go into the rally car and you're going for the stage and it's dry. You and your navigator need to be on point, figuring it out and going like, okay, now it's dry. We can't have caution here or caution there. We can't slow down in every corner. Now it's flat out. So you send it. So what they do is they write their notes in a way whereby it can work on both scenarios, both when it's rainy and both when it's dry. They're very experienced. And the biggest thing about a rally driver is they can feel the changing conditions from their butt. I'm not being funny. Basically, that is the biggest sensor they have. The biggest sensor for a rally driver is literally their ass. So what happens is when you put your ass on the seat in a rally car, you feel whatever comes from the road to the tire to the suspension first reaches your ass. So if you don't have a good ass, you can't be a rally driver. I'm just telling you, that's just the way it is. Have a good ass.
Have a good ass.
Top tips from this podcast is have a good ass and you will win World Rally Championships. That is just the way it is. But yeah, they have good asses and I'm sorry, they have good asses. They're really quick with their responses. So their hands, they're good with their hands. Oh my goodness, this is becoming bad. All right, now let me just explain. They're quick. They can turn the steering very quickly. They can, navigate between pressing the accelerator and the brake because they do left foot braking as well.
Right.
And they're also very good with telling the changing conditions of a rally stage.
Yes.
So you could go to a place where it's extremely dry, you can go extremely fast because you have more grip. But you go to somewhere else where there's fesh. So fesh is this really fine dust. It's like, talc and powder. You remember like Johnson & Johnson's, the powder?
Yes.
Now imagine dust like that, but it goes all the way to like your leg, like around here. That's how much is there. So if you're coming flat out from somewhere that doesn't have fesh into fesh, you can't drive the same way. So they need to be very keen, and the driver needs to be keen on what to do. But the navigator is also there to alert him and to tell him, here, be cautious. So it's like fesh coming, be cautious. When he starts to see that you've entered the fesh, the car is slowing down, he's like, pa. So he's also urging the driver on how to drive. That's what happens. So they need to be very aware on changing conditions, very aware on the next step they need to do, and they also need to be extremely adaptable. Like if it starts raining, this Sleeping Warrior is the stage that comes on Saturday, and it always rains, Sleeping Warrior, but it always starts sunny. But the moment it rains, you can't give up. You know, you can't go like, oh, you know, I didn't win that stage because it started raining. I need my mommy. You don't get a job, man. You know, you're a rally driver. It rains. You suck it up like a man and you drive that car like you depend on it. You drive it like you stole it from your own grandmother. Imagine your grandmother chasing you away because you stole her Toyota GR Yaris Rally 1 car. That's how you should drive. That's how
Grandma,
you should
I'm sorry. Shush,
You tell her sorry when you've won the rally. That's how you make her not beat you up. So yeah, that's what happens. So rally driver and rally navigator, you have to be on point.
Driving on snow, driving on gravel, driving on fish.
Yeah.
What are the changes like, and how
Yeah.
how prepared should a driver be for these ever-changing conditions? And we know, we are going to Naivasha.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be in Naivasha by the way, so
Mbona unipeleki? tuanzie hapo.
Tuanzie hapo.
Kila mwanaume na shida yake.
So
Anyway, yeah.
those changing conditions, Naivasha is known for those challenging, challenging roads.
Yeah.
So what kind of preparation should go to the drivers mentally, maybe physically, or I don't know, what kind of preparation
So when it comes to different driving terrains, like snow will have you change tires first of all.
Right.
So we have 205, actually yeah, it's 205 section wide tires. That's 205 millimeter section tires when you're doing gravel. Right. But when you're doing snow, it goes all the way to like 175, 185, and then they have studs. So tires change, suspension changes, even the suspension geometry changes, in order for the vehicle to be able to accommodate the lack of grip. Because in snow you have ice and ice has no grip. So that's why you need studded tires to take you through, such a scenario. So for a driver, they need to adapt to such a change of a vehicle because you're essentially changing the whole nature of the vehicle for him to adapt to driving the car. When you come to gravel, now it depends also which kind of gravel are we talking about. If it's the gravel stages of Finland is the fastest rally of the year. So Finland is like basically, it is gravel, but it's like a racetrack. So drivers can do like over 200 kph. Like you see the videos on YouTube and it's insane just how quickly a car can be driven. So for that one, the car is lower. The tire pressures are also being put more optimally. They're not too high in order for the, because they'll expand with the heat. So the driver will also have to change that. And then in his mind, he's like almost everywhere is flat out. But then you come to somewhere like Safari Rally, right? So for Safari Rally, cars actually look even different. So here, the car is at its highest suspension height. So it's as high as it could go. The suspension has also been softened because of all the rocks and all, all the bumps and everything. And then we even have snorkels. So snorkel ni yo pipe unaonanga inatoka kwa engine inaenda like a pipe ya black inaenda hadi juu ya roof. That's in order to take care of the fish. So a lot of the cars been changed and the driver needs to adapt to that, to the driving style of such a car. So he can't drive a car in Safari Rally the way he drive it in Finland, or the way he drive it in Sweden, or even the way they drive it in Monte Carlo, because in Monte Carlo it's a tarmac rally. That one even they have like, they don't even have like gravel tires. They have almost like semi-slicks. And they've hunkered the car down. Even the gearbox has even been changed, like the final drive, the final ratio. Like the car is just meant to accelerate more quicker. So many changes depending on the terrain. For the driver, it's a matter of being adaptable to every single terrain. Now that's how you see the really good drivers. That's why the Kalle Rovanperas, the Sebastian Ogiers, the Sebastian Loebs, the greats, even Michel Mouton from back in the 80s. That's why they could excel, because no matter what terrain, they will drive the car for that terrain. And they'll drive it to the max. So those are the kind of changes. So Safari Rally, you will notice that. So even when you go on the field, you'll notice snorkels. We are the only event where those cars have snorkels. We're the only event also where they have jacked it up to the highest setting. We're the only event.
You're talking about the
snorkel, yes.
Taking care of fish. How?
Yeah.
How
So what fish does, fish is like powder. So if that fish enters into the intake of the engine, it chokes it up. Because can you imagine, like, it's so fine that it can even override the air filter, or it can even clog up the air filter, meaning at some point there's no air coming in, the engine just stalls. So what they do in order to prevent the fish from coming in, because most air intakes come from the front of the vehicle coming into the intake. But now the snorkel, you change the intake from being down there to up there. So even when they come into the fish and the fish like goes over the bonnet, it still won't reach where the snorkel is. So the engine will still breathe clean air without fish. So that's where the snorkel comes in handy.
Wow. Okay. I'm learning a lot, and I have to thank you first and for showing up and on such short notice.
Yeah, it was very short notice. He grabbed me from the street. I've been kidnapped.
I fed him though.
I am a fair kidnapped victim. Yes.
So
Yeah.
what goes to preparation for a world rally championship? Like say, for example, the one that's happening now in Kenya. And what is the process? Where do we start? Where should we expect? Maybe you hung out with the world rally champion.
Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah.
What is the process like from the onset to dates? Because I think they announced this somewhere last year.
Yeah.
Already. So those are planned people. How do these the international regulations body, the FIA, WRC, come up with these dates? How do they prepare for this event? There'll be a meetup in KICC.
Yeah.
We'll go to Kasarani.
Yeah.
We'll meet in Naivasha. How's that? Does all that go?
So that's all in terms of organization.
Right.
So we've always had Safari Rally part of WRC. We just lost it in 2002 and it went all the way until 2021. So we got it back in 2021.
Right.
Now what happens is when you want to be an event in the World Rally Championship, obviously you have to go to the FIA and you have to convince them that there is actual value with being in that event, and there's an actual value of them having to travel or to even make specified cars for your event. So it's a lot of negotiations with the FIA, a lot of them coming and scouting the area, seeing if we are capable as a country to hold an international event, because those guys are not jokers. There are so many rules and so many regulations that we have to keep up with. For example, we can't have the rally running on open roads like back in the day, the way we used to have it, in the 90s and the 80s, because it needs to be done in a safe environment where it won't harm the local population. Another thing would be you need to have marshals. So marshals are the people who are around the stages, making sure that if there's any issue, they are radioing back to the HQ saying something has happened, or they're even able to keep the stages clean. You have the time controllers. Time controllers are the people who are actually timing per every stage start and end. And I have a few friends there. Mato, pia wewe tunakuona. Ujitume. Ma photos na ma videos uzitume. Anyway, so you have timekeepers, then you have obviously the people who are the service park, you have your scrutineers making sure that the vehicles are up to regulations, because as much as these cars look extreme, they are heavily regulated. You can't come up with a 2-liter engine or something like that, or have 16 different turbos running around in the vehicle. No. Everything is restricted. You have to have like a 36mm restrictor on your turbo so that you're not overproducing power. So all that kind of stuff, you need these people. Then after you have all these people there, you also need money to run the whole event. These people need food. These people need somewhere to stay. These people need cars to be able to go around the rally. So there's so much that goes into just the organization bit, and it's a lot of money, and that's why we really, really need KMSF to be well organized, because we know they have been stealing money, we know they've been doing very bad organization, and it hurts our status. When it comes to the competitors, for example, the international guys, someone like Thierry Neuville. So it's a matter of what are you carrying into the country. They need spares. Spares is what? Suspension, shocks, tires, brake pads, brake discs, body panels. They need every single part of that car needs a spare. So in case they roll with the car and crash it, even the side mirrors and the headlamps, they have spares. They can rebuild the car from scratch. That's what happens. It's the whole point of rallying. That's why rally is very gritty. And another thing I think I failed to mention is the driver and the navigator also have to be extremely technically skilled. Like, they need to fix the car when it goes bang in the stage. So you find someone like Oitanak is actually well known to be like, he's a properly good mechanic. So anything goes wrong in that car, he'll fix it. So that's also some of the preparations they go through. How quickly can you change a tire? If a tire goes flat, can you change it in less than 2 minutes and be gone? Safety belts, everything. So they need teams, they need mechanics, they need technicians, they need engineers, they need caterers, they need who are these people? Even physiotherapists there. Like, there's so much that's needed, and it's not easy. It's why it's an event. When they come into the country, it's an event. Now, how do they determine the time and day? We are the ones who dictate that. So, for example, for Kenya, we are like, we'd want you to come at the start of the rainy season, so there's a bit of rain, a bit of jeopardy, so, gari inaweza enda kwa mvua, ikwame kwa matope, and it could change the positioning. So we're the ones who suggest, we're like, come around March. So they come here, they were here very early, they were here by Saturday. Sunday, it's them going, basically them being tourists. Then Monday, they can now start doing like official stuff, driver signings, walking around, doing all that kind of stuff. But the true start of the event is Wednesday. So Wednesday, we have shakedown. So shakedown is literally that one. They shake down the vehicle to make sure everything is working, nothing is falling apart. Thursday is where we have the first stage. That's Kasarani, where it's a head-to-head. So, they're both there. They're two separate trucks, but you're going at the same time. Then once they get out from Kasarani, this year we have a new stage. It's called Camp something. I'll have to check that. But they have a new stage, which they will do once they get to Naivasha. Then Friday, now that's where they go to the fresh places, Kedong and whatever. Saturday, Sleeping Warrior. Literally, that's the best place because it's raining. Then obviously Sunday, they go to Geothermal and Hell's Gate. So that's how they end it up. So there have to be 19 stages in total, over 300 kilometers competitive kilometers. So we have competitive and we have transport. Competitive is where they race. Transport is just from one stage to another, from there back to service park. So that's not everything, but
in a nutshell.
Summary, a nutshell of what happens.
All right. And fans. You've mentioned people go there as fans. We have structured the way people will be moving. The fans. Young viewers. How can WRC now tap into young viewers? Really rally them up to be rally. Fans.
Enthusiasts and stuff. And that's where the challenges come in. I don't think the WRC has nailed it. I mean, they do have ways. For example, the shakedown, you can watch it on YouTube. Right. Fully. That's a way even the international guys can see like the cars coming through the stages. But in terms of them engaging the young people, I think that's where social media really comes into play. They really need to start making the drivers look more accessible. Hence why driver signings have come up, because you really do need some of these drivers to be seen by fans. So even in Naivasha, the service park, they'll have a place where drivers can interact with fans. You can do, autographs and stuff like that, buy merchandise and stuff. But they still have a long way to go. Because if you ask a Gen Z what rally is, I mean, we've spent this whole time talking about what rally is. Because we know most of the people, especially the Gen Z, they have no idea what the hell is happening. Right. Then also you're telling somebody to pay attention for the whole day, watching just these guys go through 6 stages a day. And they're doing it like on repeat. So they'll do stage 1, 2, 3, and then they'll repeat those same stages as 4, 5, 6. People don't have that amount of concentration. So still there's scope to grow. I feel that if they are able to have more stages that people can watch, sort of like something like at Kasarani, where everyone can go there, you can spectate. I feel if they had more points where spectators could go and see these vehicles, not just pass by, stages where it's like a loop. So you can get to see these cars really go flat out. You can see the driver's skill. You can see all that kind of stuff. I feel they'll be able to engage with youth more because they want a dopamine hit. So we only have one, that's Kasarani, and then the other one is Umekaivi for like 2 hours, and then there's a rally car, there's Kalle, and then you're like, okay, now let's wait. A young person will get bored. For us, we are old. How old are you? No, let's not get there. I am old, and I can wait for
Speak
that.
for yourself.
but yeah, so I feel they still scope to grow. I feel there's still stuff they could do. They could even do like a drive to survive sort of thing, like what they do for Formula 1. They could do something like that for rally. Because personally, I feel rally is more interesting. Yeah.
So, quick question.
Yeah.
You're a content creator, right?
Yeah.
Now, let's say WRC contacts you and tells you, what? We had you and we want you to be our content creator.
Oh, man.
What would you do different? Like, they already have their helicopters. They already have their camera people. They're doing amazing stuff. Yeah. What would you do different as a person? I
mean, the most obvious thing is show how being a spectator is for a rally. That's the one view we don't have. We have a view for the rally itself. We can see what the drivers are doing. We can see what's happening at the service park. We'll see the commentators talking about it, but there's no essence of why I would personally go and watch it. Why would I spend 3 days of my week to go follow these people who I will not see until next year? So as a content creator, that's what I'd want to do, is I'd want to show the spectator aspect of rallying, or being a rally fan. So it's about waking up very early in the morning because you have to be at a spectator's point early enough in order for these cars to pass. It's about being able to meet other like-minded people, enjoying yourselves, talking about, all the different aspects of loving cars, hearing these loud noises, seeing the helicopter pass, and then once this stage is closed, go to the next one. So showing all the different aspects of enjoying a rally, I want to show that more. I feel we don't have the spectator angle of watching a rally. So that's something, WRC, call me up. I'd want to show the spectator angle of a rally because honestly speaking, I feel being a spectator and showing people, even that waking up in the morning to just go right into a stage, like you drive 20 kilometers in order to situate yourself at one point where 10 cars will come and pass, and then after that you need to find your way out again. It is fun because you keep driving the whole day. That's something people don't realize. Is you drive from this point, then you have your buddies, then you drive to the next point, do the same thing, drive again, and then you go back to the hotel at the end of the day. Then, if you've recorded or you've seen a driver do something, then you see the live feed and you're like, I saw him do that. And maybe you can even see yourself. As a matter of fact, you see the helicopter, flash them. You flash the helicopter. That's how you get seen on international TV.
Should definitely do that.
No, I do not want to be quoted. Do not quote Madilschy. But yeah.
Okay. So you've been a rally fan. You've decoded rally for a long time.
Yeah.
Which walishidana washidani the
rivalries, yes.
The rivalries.
Yeah.
Cut direct. Which championships or people who went to head to head that actually caught your eye?
I mean, there's the most famous one, and that's the one, when we think about rallying, that's the first one we think about. That was 1995 championship. Basically, it was a championship fight between Colin McRae, great of the sport, and obviously Carlos Sainz. So that's the father of Carlos Sainz Jr. in Formula One. So they were battling it out for the 1995 World Rally Drivers Championship. And they were driving for the same team that was Subaru. So what happened was, Subaru was very competitive that year. So it was just going to be between the two of them, who's going to win.
Right.
The problem that came in was because Colin McRae is the guy who coined up the term, if in doubt, flat out. So this guy at any point of the rally, he will always go to 110% of the car's performance. So what Subaru wanted it was Rally Catalunya or something, I think it was. And they wanted them to hold position. So they were telling Colin McRae, Carlos Sainz is ahead of you. Don't go flat out. Just keep positions. We'll just fight it out in the next round, which would have been the Rally GB Wales. But Colin McRae was not built for such beta male stuff. Colin McRae was an alpha male. That's beta stuff. Why are you telling me to slow down? I'm not slowing down. I'm going to go flat out. So it was so extreme to the point whereby, Carlos Sainz first of all was like, I thought we were supposed to hold position. Right. Now Carlos Sainz has been put in a position where he has to also go flat out. So Colin McRae was going so fast that the mechanics of Subaru had to go on a live stage, stand in front of a charging Colin McRae to try and slow him down. And guess what? He didn't slow down. They had to jump out because he was not braking. That was just, we'd never seen that before. We're like, bro, these are your employers. And you don't give a shit. You're just going flat. So it was like, it was shocking. And then, it also made Carlos Sainz feel very bitter because it's like, bro, I'd do the same for you, but you're not willing to do the same for me. And Colin McRae is like, no, I'm a driver. If I need to go fast, I will go fast. But he ended up when he won the event. But he ended up slowing down when he was going for the final checkpoint, for the final timing point. So it ended up being Carlos Sainz did it in less time than him, and Carlos Sainz won. But it left such a bitter taste. And the following round, Colin McRae did his same thing, if in doubt, flat out, and he actually won the 1995 Drivers' Championship for Subaru. But it was explosive in a way we'd never seen before. We were like, that is just insane. So it was between two drivers. But between two teams, you have to go back to Group B days. That was Audi versus Lancia. Those guys pushed. Audi, four-wheel drive is in rally because of Audi. But Lancia are the ones who are putting, basically their fuel in the 80s had chemicals that you can only find in fireworks. Their engines were both supercharged and turbocharged in order to defeat Audi.
Twin charged. Nice.
Exactly. It was extreme. So it went all the way to the point whereby now Group B cars became uncontrollable. They were so fast because they had over 600 horsepower. They went so quickly that the drivers couldn't keep up with how fast the vehicles were going. Hence why someone like Henry Trevan, despite being a very good driver, couldn't keep up with the vehicle and he ended up crashing. And that's how Group B died. So can you imagine, two different teams are so competitive, you literally kill the formula for the racing. That's what happened. So for me, Carlos Sainz versus Colin McRae 1995 and 1986 Audi versus Lancia.
Interesting. And you've mentioned just a bit about emotional, control and management.
Yeah.
How important is that to a rally driver, that is number one. A person in the day-to-day life, a person who is doing content creation, a person who is doing sales and marketing. How important is emotional intelligence to such a person?
Very important, because you always need to be calm. You need to keep your head down. You need to be able to. I mean, I'm a loudmouth, but I'm calm. I know. It doesn't seem like it.
The irony.
It says the irony. I'm loud, I'm bombastic, I talk too much. But when you get pressure, like for example, we could go for a shoot,
right.
And let's say we've been given very tough restrictions on how to shoot the vehicle,
right.
And you feel frustrated, because as a content creator, there's a lot when it comes to content. We just don't show up and shoot. We actually script the whole thing.
Right.
We write, we prepare, we do everything, and then you do that. You're being told you can't take the car there, you can't do the car there, and it's so easy to get frustrated and to get angry and to bugger off and give up. But at the end of the day, you're there to do a job, so you need to get the job done. You have to outthink the limitations you've been given, which is something rally drivers do a lot. They prefer a vehicle to behave in a certain way. They prefer if the vehicle had traction control and all this kind of stuff. But you're not given that. You'll also prefer if everything went your way when you're being a rally driver. The same way I'd prefer everything to go my way as a content creator. I'd prefer if I say, I want to have Christopher Nolan direct my next episode of 7IQ. And I'd want Christopher Nolan to be paid his $100 million to be there. But that will never happen. But you have to know how to deal with it. So emotional intelligence that comes in is you need to remain calm even when the pressure is increasing.
Right.
And for rally drivers, that's extreme. That goes to an extreme because you're driving really quickly on narrow roads, rough roads, especially in Safari Rally. A zebra could come out from nowhere. These things are built with helium. They'll just fly from there to right in front of you and you could hit it. And if you're not a calm driver, then you'll panic. You'll maybe even stop, try to calm down. But these people are built like bricks. You'll see that the moment something like that comes in, they're able to just switch back in and still concentrate. And you need to do that. Even in life, you need to be calm and you need to also be very adaptable. So things change. Just get on with it. Do it. So even as a content creator, there's so much stuff I can create and they end up censoring it. I put a joke in it and I'll be like, oh, that joke is funny. But then it goes there and they're like, no, we're a corporate company, Madilschy. You cannot say that a dipstick is also called a dick. And I'm like, but it should be. I mean, and then you could also say, put your dick in the lube. It goes all the way. It goes all the way. And then, you do the whole thing. But you can't put that in a corporate ad. And I understand that. So I need to adapt and, not be so dirty-minded.
Oh. No, honestly, me and the viewers need a break. Anyway, we've come a long way in conversation and dick long way. Okay.
I mean, that's what she said. I mean, is that accurate? Could we ask the person behind the camera if that's exactly what she said? Yeah.
And I have to thank you personally for showing up, giving us so much gems for this season. This feels like Christmas for car enthusiasts, and
it is
it is summer for all of us, and I'm really looking forward to a great week, a great weekend, a great performance by these Nini drivers and the fans who are going to be there. And just one last thing, maybe you could tell us, if you had 45 seconds of if you ruled the world for 45 seconds, what would you change?
If I ruled the world for 45 seconds,
just 45 seconds. For
45 seconds, the one thing I would change, I'd make all women. No, I'm not gonna go there. I don't want to be cancelled this early. I don't even have a career yet. No, if I had 40 seconds to rule the world, I would ensure that everyone would stop being afraid to go after their dreams. We all limit ourselves. So I'd actually put in that sort of tenacity into people. So can you imagine if 8 billion people went and did exactly what they're capable of doing? I mean, if it's innovating, if it's starting businesses, if it's saving the world, if it's even defending the poor and the weak, being Batman, basically, we'd be at a better place. So for 45 seconds, I want people to just go for their dreams, and obviously, call dipstick dicks. It's just what it is.
What's your dream?
Yeah, my dream.
Yeah.
For I mean,
No. What's your dream now, generally?
generally
If
my
you're-
dream
if you're
is
for
to.
everybody going after their dreams. What's your dream? Are you getting after it?
Yeah, I mean, for me, my biggest dream is I want to be like Jeremy Clarkson. I want to have my own media company that creates content that I'd want to watch. The most important thing is I want to watch something that I'm interested in. I'd want to encourage or to have or create an opportunity for other people to also be able to create the content they'd want to watch. My biggest dream is being able to have a company where if you were a creative and you wanted to make something, you could come to me and I'd give you that opportunity straight up. So you just come and you're like, Madilschy, I want to make a movie where a man goes to Mars and pulls Mars to the moon and then he has a fight with Superman and Doomsday there, and I'd be like, yeah, go for it.
I'm ready. Okay, can we do that next week?
Yeah, why not? Why not? If you're Warner Brothers and you're watching this, please do give us $200 million, we'd make that movie. Christopher Nolan got nothing on us, bro.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for showing up.
Oh man, this was awesome.
Such an amazing show.
This was amazing.
We'll do another one for you guys so that you enjoy. Do you
Awesome,
have
man.
any closing remarks maybe for
My
the
closing.
audience?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a Fire Rally week. You're going to be seeing these cars on the road. You're going to be tempted to go fast. And this is my advice to you. You're not going to win any trophies, so don't be an idiot. Just drive well. Drive well, be safe, go home. You're not winning a trophy. Your name isn't Sebastian, nor is it Rovanpera. Drive safely.
There you have it. Drive safely. Thank you, guys.